Hey, what's up everybody? This is ePhoenixN, and I have some Brink here. This is some gameplay that I got a couple days ago. Before I get into kind of my Brink first impressions slash kind of a review thing here, I do want to mention Ellie Noir. I did put up a video on it, first impressions video. I don't know, probably about 1 o'clock in the morning or so, 1 or 2 o'clock in the morning. And I actually took it down about 8 o'clock in the morning just because I was kind of leery of putting it up and getting it, getting a strike for it from YouTube. So I actually took it down probably prematurely. I probably didn't need to, but I'm kind of just waiting to see what comes out as far as other people's other people's videos, and see what gets shot down and what gets is fine with it coming out. So anyway, that's kind of that. I am probably gonna put it up again. I don't think it did anything wrong. It's supposed to have no cutscene, no spoilers. It had maybe a cutscene for like literally 2.5 seconds. The guy held up his hand and says, "Don't kill me," and that's it. So I can't possibly imagine that it would cut it for something that minute and ridiculous. But they are being really anal, Bondi and Rockstar. I don't get why. I think basically whether it gets 50 views or it gets 50,000 views, one way or another, it's basically doing free advertising for the game, which is probably only going to sell games, especially with positive reviews. Um, and they're still kind of being, in my opinion, a bit of an asshole on it, a bit, fascist, I guess. But that is alright. It's whatever. I'll put it back up if I can. If I can't, then I won't. I'll find some other things I can put up on it that'll allow me to do it. So, anyway, back to Brink. First off, I've rented the game. I haven't bought it. I didn't buy it simply because I didn't get great reviews from a couple of different websites, and it just didn't seem like it was going to be the game that I hoped it would be. This is kind of game that had a lot of good reviews and seemed to be doing a lot of things different, and a lot of things that were unique and interesting, which they did, and some of it they pulled off, and some of it they just didn't do quite well enough, or they ignored other steps and other things that they should have probably focused on a little more than they did. First, I guess for the pros of it, let me first say that I haven't played this a ton. I've played it, multiple hours. I've, given it, a pretty good run through. But I haven't played it for, 30 hours or anything like that. So it's not it's not that my opinion won't change a little bit over time, but I think I'm pretty solid on what my opinion is as of right now. First off, on the pros, the good things in the game, large customization. I really like that. I like that the game has, you can put so many different outfits and gun attachments and guns and things like that in this game. I think that's really exciting. That's really interesting. It's a little novel for a first-person shooter, and I like that quite a bit. Personally, I always love customization. It's one of those things. Some people don't care. For them, customization is whatever. I don't care. I just want to shoot people. For me, for whatever reason, I love customization. I love to put different colors on my guns, or wear different pants or different shirts, or put a hockey mask on or whatever. And I really like that. That really kind of draws me into the game. I think it makes the game more deep and more satisfying overall. Um, and I actually put some of the customization here at the end. At the beginning of the game, it's just pretty much all gameplay. But yeah, for the end of it, you can see probably a couple minutes of just customization, just me going through creating a whole new character. Another thing that I do like, the game requires team play. You're not going to get a lot of camping. You're not going to get someone sitting in a corner racking up kills, sitting in a corner racking up kills, because kill horn doesn't really matter. It doesn't get a lot of experience points versus other things, and it's just not that big of a deal. If you die as many times as you live, you might still get the most points and be the best player on your team. So it's not really a matter of um, just kill horn, which I kind of like, because I'm one of those people. I'd rather team play than that. So I think that's a good thing. I think it's fun and exciting, and it's something new. It's not Call of Duty-esque in that sense, which I like. I like that quite a bit. Um, for the most part, I do like the graphics. They're not bad. Sometimes they'll get a little blurry here and there, but they're not bad. They're not like LA Noir or Uncharted 3 graphics, which I think are just fantastic, amazingly beautiful. But I'd give them probably like a 8.5 out of 10 on graphics. It's not bad. It's good. I mean, it's solid. It's very good, but it's just not like take your breath away or anything. If anything, the graphics are a little bit too uniform. It seems like you're. I know there's only kind of like a couple areas that you're really playing, but it seems kind of like it's all industrial metal complex. in a warehouse looking type of thing, which isn't horrible, but it's kind of gets redundant after a while, seeing the same thing over and over again. Anyway, it does. I really like the parkour. We kind of jump over things like that. It kind of has a more interesting, smooth feel to it, where you don't have to walk around every little thing. That you can actually climb over things. That's definitely new and something different that they put in. I applaud the innovation on that. I think it's definitely something cool. I also really like the art style. Kind of the elongated faces and things like that. I think that's really cool. It's a little different. It's not ultra realistic, but it's still, you know, it's nice to look at. Something good. So, and lastly, as far as the pros, I really like the balance. Each group is balanced. Basically, all the players are pretty much the same as far as like classes. The classes just determine like whether you can put down a mine or a turret, or whether you can steal someone's identity and look like the enemy for a little while, or whether you can heal other players and give them boost and this and that, or whether you're a soldier and you can blow things up and different things. And so those each help you with your objectives and how you meet your objectives and things like that. So that's all really good. I really like that. Um, you know, the classes aren't hugely distinct because like it's basically you get a couple of different abilities for each one, and that's about it. But I think it does provide a nice balance between them. It's not like you don't have one that's like thoroughly over or underpowered, which I like that quite a bit. Now on to the cons. Unfortunately, there are quite a few cons in my eyes to this game. First and foremost, the single player. There's not really a single player. Let's put it that way. It's pretty much all a multiplayer game, which some people are probably completely fine with. The reason why I'm not fine with is I love storylines. I love plots. I love storylines. I love shocking twists. I love getting into the game as far as the characters. It brings me into the game overall, and even will bring me into more of a multiplayer theme to it too. It doesn't have that. I think that's kind of a bit off because like the same 8 maps that you play in single player, you play in multiplayer. I don't like that. I think the game could have been more deep with that. I think they could have put a more story in. They do have like 30-second cutscenes in between the maps at the start and the end of the maps and things like that, but they're so small and it's so little there that you have pretty much no story and backstory to it at all. I mean, you can look into audio logs, which is a little more in depth to it, but it feels like a game without an identity, really. It feels like they put up a superficial plot and storyline to it that was just pretty much it's kind of paper thin because you just don't have enough there to really sink your teeth into it. And I just don't really like that. I think every game should pretty much have a multi or single player. I really like playing single player in all games pretty much. So that disappointed me. Now that being said, in the single player, another problem is the single player AI on your team anyway. The single player on the other team is nice because they're kind of tough, and so it makes it more difficult, which is not a bad thing at all. But the single player AI on your side, they tend to focus on things like command posts, which aren't really that important to the game overall, and ignore like your current objective to get a command post. So they're absolutely no help at all. Or like they all decide to be mechanics and operatives to get the next target, but then none of them are medics, so they can't heal anybody. So like you can't move past a checkpoint because you're all just getting slaughtered by the team who does have a bunch of medics, which are healing people over and over again. And it's just that can get really frustrating. It can make part of it really tedious and long-winded and frustrating. So and that's kind of another con on that, and that makes it pretty difficult. Some of the more difficult than it needs to be, and more difficult in the sense of frustrating than difficult, satisfying that you get it done type of thing. Because in multiplayer it's good because you have their teammates, but in single player you don't have that, so that kind of sucks. Last and not the least, I suppose, is the customization. I said I loved it. It's great. It's fantastic. I always love that. Big problem is though you can't see it. Which seems like a giant oversight to me. I mean, that's like a slap you in the face oversight. Like, why would you put so much work and effort into customizing all these things and then you can't see it? You can't see it when you're playing because it's just first-person shooters. You only can see the gun, so you can't see it in your player customization. You can barely see it in cutscenes, but you're not an actual character in the game. You're just like some random soldier there, and so guess what? You still don't see your character in that, and then finally you don't see your character in like a kill feed because you don't have a kill feed. That's really frustrating because I like the idea of putting forth, hey, this is a really cool new character that's me, and that kind of like this is what I think's cool, but I can't even see him through my eyes or the enemy's eyes. That's pretty lame, to be honest, if you ask me. that's frustrating for me personally. I won't give a definitive like overall answer like this game is this or that. I think this game's a rent. I don't think it's a buy. I don't think it's a buy just because I don't think there's enough there. I think this is the type of game where, although it has a solid multiplayer, 8 maps is going to get old. I think the fact that it pretty much the 8 maps have their certain objectives and that's it. It's not like you have 8 maps. You can play domination, then you can play demolition, then you can play sabotage. Like, and I don't want to compare everything to Call of Duty because I don't want to do that. I don't think that's right. But it kind of is a glaring weakness. I think it could get really redundant and kind of old and repetitive, and I don't think that's good. Not repetitive in like normal shooter repetitive, but repetitive in the sense of boring and stale. So I guess that's all I have to say about that. You guys should probably check it out. I think a lot of hardcore first-person shooters would probably really like it. I think casual first-person shooters wouldn't. And you know, I think it's a mid-range. You know, it's a good game, but I'm not sure worth $60. Anyway, guys, if you could just throw a like on the video, I'd really appreciate it. Thanks for watching. Peace out, guys.